Good
Good
morning.
morning, Bill.
How are things?
I got a whiteboard yesterday, bro. I'm good.
You're in
I'm
the club.
taking it over.
You're in the club.
Oh man. I dude, I am fired up. Like it's pretty silly. A friend of mine, dude, I'm a beautiful mind when it comes to the whiteboard. Like I go,
Yeah.
right? And a friend of mine is moving, so I bought one from him, but it's like too big and we're in a rental, and it was just like a little wonky. So we put this huge one out in the garage, right, and just kind of waiting for until we move the next time because we're not going to be here for forever. But we got all fired up yesterday,
Yeah.
in the Discord channel talking about how you track and how you measure, and I was like, yeah, I need one. Yeah, I was like, okay, let's go. And so I'm looking at it right here. Like you guys can't see it, but like right over here is like the master plan that is like the Taj Mahal of like John. It's gonna be epic.
Yeah. What you don't know is productive people on camera. If you look to their right, there's a whiteboard that is taking over the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we were talking in our Discord channel yesterday. You and me and Ash and Andrew. We were talking about how we track and how we do this with our families and everything else like this. And I admitted to some of my struggles with trying to be the guy leading this for my family and how that sometimes blows up in my face because I get a little too amped, and that's not incredibly helpful. So yesterday I was like, can we get 3 whiteboards? And Melissa was like, yeah. And I was like, can you go buy them? And she's like, you can't. And I was like, I don't want to get lost. And I will, right? Because I will over comp shop and just like, and then all of a sudden I'm looking for the best one, and I just need one I can write on and erase. And so she went and got 4 of them, right? So one for me, one for her, one for Alice, and then one for like family goals that we're gonna put up, and we're gonna start like, yeah, man, I'm on fire, dude. I like, it was hard to sleep last night because I was just like, let's go.
Gosh, I know. I'm getting excited just because you're excited. Like,
oh man, I've never, do you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I have. I don't normally.
Man, I am such a Santiago. Like, just absolutely. I want to be Jake, but I'm much more like Santiago and Boyle, like crammed into like one body, and it's not. It's more like Boyle's body and not like Terry Jeffords' body. But it is what it is. So, man, this whiteboard is pretty legit, and I put a little sticker on there to remind me why we're working so hard on all of this stuff. So that way I don't get lost, because you can sometimes, right? You can build this cone of focus around yourself, and you'll get a lot done, but you're not going to be close to a lot of people. So I put this little sticker because we like to go camping and traveling and stuff like that, and it says "Let's get lost." So it's kind of the reminder to not go too far down.
That's good, man. I can't wait to see what all happens with that.
Oh yeah,
dandy new whiteboard. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh, dude, and it's nice, bro. It's a little weird to say this about a whiteboard, but it's a little sexy. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture of it. Didn't you put a picture of it?
Oh yeah, I did.
it's like your new car. You're like, check out my baby. Like, look at
that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're gonna ask how you feel, but I think we all know how you feel this morning.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel a little funny being this jacked about a whiteboard, but also, if you don't get it, you don't get it. I don't care.
If you do, you do. And so that's why I'm like smiling like a goofy kid over here too, because I get it.
How are you today? How was yesterday? How's your week going?
It's good. Made my asks again. I had 3 new people come into the group yesterday. Let's see. I got the lion's share of my email work done yesterday, which was really nice. Yeah, I'm on task. I'm on point. I'm on schedule this week.
That's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. It's weird because we had our call yesterday, and then I got into Facebook, and I was going to do my value post, and I was going to reshare it on LinkedIn, and man, it just felt tone deaf with everything that's going on with the protests and everything else. And I was like, man, I put out a lot of business content. Like I'm just gonna kind of like ease up just for like today, right? Just like take the day, different platforms are doing different things, but like, there's a lot of focus on what's going on, and I think that's important. I put out an offer in a group, but it was very focused, trying to find some copywriters, because man, I had a dope. Oh my God, we have so much to talk about. We pulled the trigger on the social media for the throwdown yesterday. So bringing on this contractor who's legit. I'm super excited, and you can't have her name yet, but assuming she kills it, we'll be talking more about it. Okay. But she's going to be helping us out with that. And then someone reached out because they saw me in a group talking about the podcast, and they came up with these like cover images for all of our shows, or they did a handful of them for free, and they said, hey, look, I'd love to be your thumbnail guy. I was like, man, I would love for you to be our thumbnail guy. Like, what does that look like? And he goes, well, I can make these for about $10 a piece, and they look pretty solid, actually. Yeah. Like I was impressed, right? So it's got this nice little overlay and all the stuff I'm not good at, right? The design elements and things like that. Yeah. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be working with this team, and they're going to be taking our big podcast and kind of chopping it down into smaller sections. That way we can share it, because I'm of the opinion that long podcasts are great, but you have to trust that person with like more than an hour of your time. And I get that a lot of people don't know us and don't trust us, and that's fine. So we're going to be taking these things and really kind of like just spreading them, right? Gary Vee waterfall style, right? Just trying to get it out there as much as we can, because we're trying to get the show thing going. We also decided to stay in Zoom. We're not going to go back in the studio, at least for right now, because it's just hard to coordinate, and also we're not where we want to be as far as revenue. So we're just going to kind of dial it back and stay on Zoom, make some changes, and then go from there. But so that was exciting. That was a pretty huge point of impact yesterday. I did a role play with my closer because he was struggling a little bit. So we hopped on a call and did some role play. So I got 2 role plays yesterday. I got yours and his.
Yeah.
Killing that game.
Yeah.
That being said, I didn't get anything else done. So
nice. It feels like Alice told me that she didn't clean her room yesterday. All this really great stuff. Gosh, can you believe this? And no, I didn't. I didn't clean my room.
I also had a conversation with a guy to talk about like punching up my value posts to make them a little bit tighter and a little bit more on point and a little bit scheduled out in advance. So that way we're talking about recurring themes. And, he said the same thing that everybody's been saying to me here recently. Like, hey, John, like, this is a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. And he's like, we'd get a lot more done with a little bit more focus. And I'm like, I get that, but I've got agreements and sunk costs and goals, man. Like, I get that it's not optimal, but like, this is where we are, and you can either help me or you can't. And I'm fine either way. Like it doesn't matter. Like,
right.
I have such attachment to like random weird things, but like, it's kind of like shifting to like, this is what I need, and you can either do it or you can't. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay either way. Like, I can find somebody else, right? But thankfully I've got great, contractors and freelancers and people in my network who I can reach out to for these little, projects and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm in a weird spot. I'm overextended a little bit. I thought that the podcast was going to be easier, and I really thought that the sales and marketing for like adaptive growth would be more or less taken care of due to some agreements and things that I had done, which didn't really work out. So, I'm kind of in a full on let's move kind of deal. So
yeah. I think we talked about it on another show, is when you have the mindset of everything's figure outable, which is kind of what good entrepreneur crews have. It is when you see someone else doing something well, you're like, oh, I can do that. And then you don't necessarily wait to find out all the steps they're going through to make it that successful. And then you're already in it. And it's like, oh, okay. There's a lot more than I thought. And now I'm committed to 4 projects. And I thought that this was 1 project, but I'm committed to it. So I get it. You are where you are. So do the best with what you got.
Exactly.
And then when you finally fall down of exhaustion, then you'll decide which one you want to drop.
Well, so that's a fair point, right? I mean, there are only so many hours in the day, and what happens is, I think that the mindset for the entrepreneur is not like I got to figure this out right now,
right?
Which is like always how like I feel, because like I'm like, hey, you know what? I can do this better than somebody else. I'm a smart guy. So let's try to do this in 6 months versus like 3 years.
Right. Screw precedent.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I don't care if you've done this before. I haven't, but I think I'm smart.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been fairly interesting, right? When we were talking about launching this, and you're like, "Hey, like, let's do it online." I'm like, "I need you to do most of it because I can't do more. I can show up and be talent, I guess, but like, you know, let's go." So
yeah, I did the same thing on my other podcast. They were like, "Let's do it." I was like, "Okay, all I can do is show up, just so you know." That's all I got.
I will be completely here when I'm here, but there's not a whole lot else I can do as far as
time. Social, and I'll comment, but that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. So today I've got some, you know, honeydew stuff, you know, some bills because it's the first of the month I need to pay. But man, I've got I need to write a Sherpa. I've already sent a Sherpa this morning. I scheduled it for next week, so we're ahead of the game there.
Noise.
Got some client work. Yeah, it's gonna be a busy day, and I got some meetings as well. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, me too. I have a heavy day. I was just relisting all the things on my list that I know that I have to finish this week with right here.
Yeah.
This is for the week to finish everything I need to do.
To not pay me?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, there's only 2 things on that list to not pay you.
Okay.
The rest are things that I want to have done this week so I can stay on pace with some other things.
Okay.
So, like, for example, I'm going to be asking like everybody I know. I'm going to be hosting like a little town hall on my Facebook channel, just a Facebook Live at night next week sometime with a black lady, who's a friend of mine. And I was like, I want to do this thing where I ask you all the dumb white person questions because we're friends. And she's like, you ask me. That's what she told me. She was like, I want you to ask me all the dumb white person questions that you can't ask anybody else, and I won't get mad at you. I won't think you're racist. I just want everyone to know how we're thinking through all this so that you can be better support. And I was like, let's go online and do that. Let's do it on Facebook. Can we do this on Facebook? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So we're going to like pre-set up, you know, probably 5 or 6 questions. And I'm going to let people come on and ask questions in the comments. And then we're just going to go through it and, you know, just kind of hash some of it out. Cause I'm at a stage in my life where I recognize how big of a problem it is. I always kind of have, but I'm tired of just putting social media up and being like, oh, I support you. Like, I want to know things that can be changed and it can be done. Because this is what we're about, right? We're about action. We're not just about thinking through things. We're about, great, let's go try that. Let's see what happens. So I'm trying to apply this to more areas of my life, and that was one that was immediately available, where at least we could talk out loud and maybe come up with some action points together and keep each other accountable to what the outcome in our neighborhood is, at least, you know?
It's weird. I posted something yesterday about this point of view of looking at the protests and stuff like this, and it was unique to me. I had not thought of this before, and I posted it. And a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, Mike, if you're watching, you're probably not, but if you are, what's up? Egg rolls next week. So he was like, "Yo, man, if this is a hot take to you, like we should be talking more." Right. And I was like, you know, we kind of talked about it there, and then I texted him, and I was like, being like, "You're not helping." Right. So I realize that you think you're talking to me, and this is something that I should know, but you can't know everything, right? You learn stuff as you learn it. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear, kind of deal. Right. And when you make a comment like, hey, this is so Butch League and in table stakes that everybody should know this thing, that you're making it harder for anybody else who
has a dumb question.
Exactly. You know?
Yeah.
And you know, we kind of talked about it, and you know, he agreed. You know, and then yesterday I went to go. This is so stupid. I went to go meet a buddy to go have a drink real quick because I hadn't seen him in a while with everything else. So we decided to go downtown. There's protests going on downtown, right? So kind of forgot about it. Also didn't realize how late in the afternoon it was. So like this was about 5:30, and with the curfew being at 8, a lot of places were closing at 6:45 or 7 or something like that. Yeah. So just got to see my buddy for a minute and then kind of catch up and then left. But I saw the protests, downtown, and they were kind of starting to march towards away from the courthouse towards like something else. So far, we've been doing really good about keeping it peaceful and not having stuff like go awry. But it's crazy, right? It's really, really crazy.
And you never think of it coming to your neighborhood necessarily, unless you're from like, a Detroit or Chicago or New York, or like, West 7th had vandalism this week on building. Yeah. So it's like, it's an interesting time. And to me, it's a perfect storm for me, just in my world, of trying to figure out how to communicate in a way that's even more productive in a lot of areas of my life, and different relationships. And so thinking that one of the major issues going on in our country is communicating something that someone's hurting, and the other side listening and actually doing something about it is a major theme that we need to improve on across the board. So the fact that we're sitting here talking about how to be more effective, not just productive, includes communication, doing uncomfortable things, right? I mean, that's what we're all about. So it's going to be uncomfortable for me. I'm not going to want to ask some of the questions that I want to ask, but I'm going to do it because I'm the guy that'll take the beating, just because I'm comfortable and know.
And like I'm a curious guy. Like I'm always questioning, asking questions, and everything else like this. And so, when you see somebody else, right, who doesn't look like you, it's normal to be curious. But I think that where that goes awry is when your curiosity is only meant to like divide. Like my curiosity is just pure curiosity. Like I'm just curious. Like how do you handle this? Right. It's not me trying to boil somebody down to like one single trait or group or anything else like this. But like I'm curious about your culture. I'm curious about these things, and then sometimes it feels like you're not really allowed to ask those kinds of questions, because then you're trying to do this thing, and then you get this label that nobody wants, and it's weird, right? Because like everybody is so on edge, and I understand why, but we don't get past that without being able to talk about it. So
yeah, and you get people in comments like your friends who, on purpose or not, demean comments just on accident, and so it becomes even harder to get into conversation, even with people who are well-meaning. Or like, well, how did you not know that? Like, or come on, we talked about this 2 years ago. You can't tell me you haven't changed since then. Stuff like that kills conversation of the other people watching, not just you. Mm-hmm. And so that makes it tough.
Yeah, it's rough. What I'd like to do, honestly, is on our weekly bets, we start doing some stuff around, family, or like, because right now it's been very, very work focused for, we're both trying to sprint to meet some immediate goals, but like this stuff is applicable outside of work, right? Like, I mean, your hobbies, your family, your everything, right? I mean, it's what you prioritize is what gets done. Yep. And if it's not in front of you, it won't get done, right? Like, think about all the stuff you plan. One day I'm going to do these things, right? And what's crazy is I was writing this in my journal the other day. I spent so much of my adult life like waiting for my adult life to start. Right? Like, and I'm going to be 40, right? So like, it's 40. Like, you don't really get much more adult than 40, right? I mean, there are other 40-year-olds who adult better than I do. That's not what I'm saying, but
right.
It's like, man, I'm an adult now. Like, it's no longer time to like plan the future. Like let's plan now. Like, I want everything on the bucket list done by 75. So that way, if I die at 75 in a day, good.
Yeah, that's your master plan, right? 75 in a day.
That's my death day, right? And in Stoicism, it talks about planning your death and being really comfortable with it. And you can't really be comfortable with it if you don't acknowledge it. So, cool, right? I've 75 would be 35 years. That would be more than enough time to see Alice grown up, do everything on the list that I want to do. And it also puts this deadline, right? You're more productive when you have a deadline.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other way, I've kind of flipped it now too, because I'm so much older than you, 42, is that I flipped it to be, I'm going to plan my life today and not worry about death, because death's going to come for me who knows when. I'd love for it to be 80 or 75 or whatever it is. In fact, somebody asked me, how old would you like to be? How old would you like, assuming you had good health, like it wasn't just like a terrible situation, after 75. How long would you like to live? And I don't know. I didn't know how to answer that, right? Because it's like, if I can pick any number and I'm in good health, I like living. 150?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I want to do, and I definitely want to hit everything I want to do while I'm here. So it's like, I'm going to plan today. Segue. What's your daily 3 today?
Yeah.
But I'm going to plan today, and I'm going to nail today. And then if I get tomorrow, that's awesome too.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. You know, I feel like, and I don't know if this is age, but I feel like I'm more susceptible to like mindset shifts depending upon what I surround myself with.
Oh yeah.
Right. So all the stuff with journaling and the meditating and the stoicism and everything else like this, and also like the whiteboard stuff and the things that we're doing here have put me into this like headspace of like, go, drive, like just get it. And there's helpful to that, but you also have to have a balance, right? And that's why, you know, I want to start doing personal goals and dating goals and, you know, stuff like that, because it's not just work. So, but it's easy to kind of get lost down that thing, right? You know, the inception, you don't want to go to the fourth dream.
For sure. And I mean, I think, and Michael Hyatt's a great planning program for your whole life. So if anyone out there is looking for a program, he's got a free one. But it's a life planning goal thing, which I did several years ago. And it's like a lot of other things that you end up experiencing and then hearing is the lifestyle change, right? So eating nutritiously is not a diet. A diet is a limited amount of time for a specific goal.
Yeah.
Eating nutritiously is a lifestyle. And to me, that's what this is. What we're doing is a lifestyle. So you're right. It doesn't just go to your business. It goes everywhere or it goes nowhere, you know?
Yeah. What's your big three look like today, Bill?
My big three is to do my 10 asks. That's number one. Number two is I have a couple client meetings today that I'm going to be really present for because there's some shifting strategy and some things like that. Just because that's where we're at right now, right? There's definitely some stuff changing in the economy and
For sure.
people are thriving. And luckily I've got one business that's really trying to figure out how to capitalize on this. So it'll be kind of one more of those thoughts, but then the other one's struggling in retail, of course. And we're trying to help figure something else out. And then the third thing is I have, with Quirk, we're doing an email course on Teachable that's going to be like $30. It's going to be our entry, just a cool product entry point for Quirk that I wrote a lion's share of. And so I'm doing like a final review of the course, and we're going to get that live here, hopefully, I think next week. So I've got a big kind of review of that.
Why, of all the silos, why email?
Well, because and it'll be to be seen soon because there's shifting some vision at Quirk on how we're approaching the future. But it's very much a clarity and story type agency. So getting clear on who you are as a business and why you do it and what really cares about, and then bringing it through a story brand filter. And so your website and your email are a huge, massive piece of that kind of foundation for your business. Clearly, you got to do a lot of other stuff to get people to come see it. But once they get there, we want to be the agency that is the expert at getting your website and your email connected and put in a place that once people get there, they're really, really like locked in if we've got the right audience. So email is a big piece of that foundational stuff we're going to build moving forward. So we need to be experts around email because that's a big piece of what we're selling.
Isn't it crazy how we get into these ideas? You know, we drink different Kool-Aids and the marketing silos and stuff like this because, you know, it just kind of shifts, right? I mean, a handful of years ago, it was like organic SEO and it was all weird and it was like really hard to figure out, and like black hat, white hat, and gray hat and all of this stuff. And then Panda comes along and wrecks everything that was like the right way or the normal way to do it.
Right.
And then local SEO shows up, and then Facebook ads, and then, you know, and then email, right? But like, you know, guys that we follow, Papa Noah Kagan has been talking about email and like getting lists and everything else like this for the entire time. He's been one note this whole time. He'll do other stuff, but his focus is, I want to control the marketing message. So let's get it into email. And that's the jam. So
email's the grandfather. It's the brain system of the internet. So, and then actually recently we were talking about this. It's really interesting, right? Because of all the stuff that's going on the major media channels, meaning like social media platforms, throttling posts and censoring posts and like all the stuff that's across all of them. It's not even one anymore. All of them are openly doing it and trying to defend their position. So I have been part of multiple clients and myself of profiles getting shut down for no other reason that they didn't like what we were posting or the way we posted it, and literally having to restart accounts or losing all your audience and things like that. And way back in the day, back when, Kagan, but even before that, the reason the email thing was, they were pushing it, was that you can lose all those other channels. Like those can all shut down. And if you still have email, you still have an audience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our big push too. It's like you still have an audience, and those are just accelerators, the other pieces.
Yeah, I agree completely. So, yesterday I was doing some dream boarding, right?
Yeah.
You can see it a little bit, but like these different channels that you can take to get to what I'm going to be considering not everybody's going to buy everything, and that's okay. Right. But like if you really like me and we produce results together, then we'll keep working together and figure it out and figure it out and figure it out and figure it out and figure it out.
Right. Check it out.
So, I kind of figured out like, okay, that 1% of people who like really, really enjoy the work that we do together and everything else, like what do they need to have done? Right. They need to have, done a DISC assessment, a sales process with me. They might have worked with me to like hire a sales closer or something like this. And then, also they're on some kind of recurring plan, right? And so then what happens is you can build onto the top easier, right? Masterminds, getaways, things like this, provide more value.
Right.
But, the thing that I've been doing is I've been trying to sell everybody everything, right? And like a very small version of this, which I didn't even realize that I was guilty of doing this thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, let's get a full process. And they're like, John, I don't know who you are. I don't want to spend $7,000 with you. I'm like, okay, that's fair. So what I've been doing is I've been kind of moving it back to like, let's just start with an assessment, right? Like I'm pretty good at this point about going over an assessment with someone and talking about how that's going to show up in their role, like either as a salesperson or just like as a human. And that's like such a easy, low thing that I can kill it on.
Well, and I think that the part that we forget, because we both think we have all this mental horsepower to keep pouring in stuff all day long because we're confident, is you only have so much mental stamina in a day, right? And how much easier, how much less brain space does it take in your own mind to go, here's my sell, not, okay, how do I, depending on the person in the door, because we're geeks, because we like that conversation. And we're like, ooh, yeah, let's break this apart. Okay. No, yes, no. Okay, you got these two options. And it's like, great, I feel good now. But how much time did I probably waste? And how much mental energy did I waste? If I could have just gone, look, start here. If this fits for you, we can have another conversation. And that's why I'm doing the group. That's a huge reason I'm doing the group. I have one ask. If you're not for it, I want to talk to you some more, but okay, on to the next one.
Yeah. That first ask has got to be easy, right? Like super easy, or people already have to know, like, and trust you. And what's crazy is like trust is this weird, hard to define thing, right? For when someone actually trusts you and you can, do more with them and things like this. But, it's really hard to put a label on. And I'm the guy who likes labels. So then I try to define, trust, and it's just time, like I've got people in my circle who buy, every offer I put out, and that's awesome, right? But I just need to get that circle bigger, right? The 1,000 true fans, the Kevin Rose.
Yeah,
is that right? Yeah,
not Kevin Rose. I think Seth made it popular, but he quoted somebody else.
Yeah, kk.org, I think is where that blog post lives, and essentially just talks about the fact that if you have 1,000 people who really, really are engaged with your stuff and they'll buy pretty much everything you put out, you don't really need anything else, right? And the first time I read that, I was blown away, but like it makes complete sense because not everybody buys everything.
Right. That's where the book tribes kind of fell in the same time. Was 1,000 loyal fans. Cool. So what's anything in your way today? Anything blocking you from your daily 3?
My big 3 is I need to write these course / consulting client work. I've got to get that done. I'm gonna get back on track with the daily value post today. And yeah, course content. Yeah. So course content or consulting content or whatever, daily value post. And I've got probably about an hour of client work.
Okay.
And my calendar is mostly open. I have a coaching call at 2. But yeah, nothing too crazy. I would love to get the majority of this done so that way tomorrow is not like a super full
Yeah.
full day. I'm trying to reserve my Fridays for like light days and blocking and tackling and like email stuff.
Totally. Yeah, same. So I'm gonna try and knock out a bunch of this list today. That way Friday's a little more chill. Cool, man. Well, I don't think I have. The only thing in my way is myself today. I did do a good amount of work yesterday, but I also was really fighting the kind of the I don't want us at certain parts during the day.
Okay.
I'll push them pretty hard against that. And some days I can step out of it pretty easily. I can just go, look, we're good. Step away for 5 minutes, reset. Other days it's just like, particularly when I'm doing tedious tasks, right? Because it's not in my superpower area. And it has to get done. That's the hardest ones to get back on track with.
Yeah. Yesterday was kind of a cluster of a day. It really didn't go according to plan, but I've been writing down these like points of impact on Sunday nights, right? Like this is my first week doing this, but like huge things that are important and need to get done this week, but they're going to be impactful in the longer run, right? So like Melissa and I yesterday went over the marketing plan and got her on board. I wasn't doing a great job of making her feel okay in her role, right? So she was seeing me working a lot. I'm doing a lot of stuff that she doesn't really work on. So I've got mountains of work, and she was feeling a little bit like she wasn't pulling her weight. So we sat down and had a conversation. And this pad that I was showing you a moment ago, I'm like, look, each one of these channels is a 12-week project, right? So like, let's start planning and working ahead, because she was feeling under the gun, because I was feeling a little bit under the gun. And when you plan and you move forward and you're thinking forward, everything is easier, right? You can impact change when you're not thinking about, I got to change this thing right now, right? You can start putting small things in place. And that's where the long-term planning and the goal setting comes into play, because if you don't have any goals, you don't have anything to work towards. And so then whenever, that shiny thing shows up, it's really easy to go get lost in it. I told Jeff yesterday in a text, I said, right now I'm only falling down about 90 of 100 rabbit holes and black holes, for my time. I mean, normally it's 100. And he was like, yeah, but when you fall down any of them, you go all the way down. I'm like, ain't no half stepping over here, right? Like,
right. All nothing.
So yeah, it's an ongoing thing, and everyone's like, I think realization of the shiny thing and the lack of focus is different.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time thinking I was really focused, and now that I feel like I am really focused, I'm like, why did I ever think this before?
Yeah. Yeah. That's life, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, wow, look at what I was. And then you're like, 6 months later, wow, what are you getting caught?
I see. So I use this app called Time Hop, and what it does is it shows you like a look into your history, right? And it pulls from your Facebook and your photos and all these things. And I see so many posts of whenever you and I worked together at Chase, and just how miserable that God, that.
Yeah, that was the thing.
That was rough, but here's the deal. If I'm being really honest, I was making it rougher than it needed to be.
Oh yeah, I mean, we both were.
Yeah, because like I wasn't really invested. I was kind of frustrated. I'd taken a big pay cut because I was told it was going to be not a pay cut, and and then you get there and like, Chase had some prestige at the time, but it wasn't. It was like fake prestige. It was very, very odd. You get in there and you're like, oh man, this is not like what I thought it was going to be like whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's making it worse by being negative about everything as opposed to trying to be focused and move forward.
Well, we were talking about everything but Chase on the clock, so,
yeah,
that didn't help. We could have been a little more prepared.
Could have been a little bit more prepared, right? But like, yeah, I think we just talked about kung fu and affiliate marketing and
pretty
kids.
And we were probably talking about email too at that point, because that was like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, and like AdWords, I was like, wait, you can pay for ad space, and you were like, dude. Come on. I was like, I don't know how any of this stuff works. I'm just like a man at that point, like no kid, John.
Yeah, man,
he was weird. He was an odd guy, not focused, not driven, just kind of just floating through. So
yeah,
I would destroy that guy now.
Yep.
Even though I'm older,
wisdom over age.
30-year-old John,
Mm-hmm.
I'd take you.
Boom, done. That's right. I'd outthink you.
That's right.
Right. Plus, you got this one now too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Layers, baby.
The single leg. 30-year-old John doesn't know how to deal with a single leg. He's going down.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
So, all right, man.
All right.
Well, let's get going. Tomorrow's our long episode. We're going to do our resets. We're going to see where we are for the week. We're going to see who's got to pay. Hopefully we pay ourselves, and we'll get going from there.
And do we want to do a guest tomorrow? Talk about that?
Oh. I haven't confirmed a guest for tomorrow. Have you?
I've got one who'll come on anytime, but we can figure that out.
Yeah, let's talk about this offline. I'll message Ben because he said he wanted to come on, and you can we'll get it figured out.
Yeah, you let me know where Ben stands. If not, I'll hit my guy up.
Awesome, man. All right, buddy.
All right, man. See you.
See you, Bill.